Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. Now, before we get into it, I'd just like to inform you about a new website selling quality current and retro Spurs jerseys, okjersey.com. They sell all current and retro Tottenham Hotspur shirts in all sizes. They sell the current fan and player versions, as well as the 80s and 90s retro shirts, including my very favourite, the 1991 FA Cup final shirt. You can order very easily from okjersey.com, and if you use the code Chris, you will receive an 8% discount off your final order. You can also use the QR code on the top left of your screen. And by the way, they also have some training wear here and the 25-26 colour special edition jersey. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. And I'm absolutely delighted to say that we are talking about a home win here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the Premier League. And we had a shot on target in the first half at home in the Premier League. Now, Tottenham Hotspur up to 8th after beating Brentford here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium 2-0 after goals from Richarlison and Xavi Simons. Now, we're live on X, we're live on YouTube and Facebook, so please do let us know how you are feeling right now as a Tottenham Hotspur fan. But I tell you what, that is more like it. Now, we have got 3 very special guests with us, as per normal, to go through today's game. And right at the end of the podcast, we will preview Tuesday's game in the Champions League against Slavia Prague. Now, back with me is my right-hand man, Ricky Norwood. Ricky, how are you?
Today I am buzzing, my friend. It's about time. It is about time. Not only 3 points at home, not only a clean sheet, but a performance for 90 minutes. The boys went out there. Finally, we saw some front-footed strength, bravery, risk-taking, overlapping passes. We kept the momentum. We kept the ball. We kept the domination throughout the game. I don't know whether it was just because it was Brentford, but my goodness, did we need that? Did we need that as a fan base? Did we need that as a club? Did we need that from Frank going forward so that we know what it looks like when the team plays as a team today? Fantastic. Really good to build on the good things from Newcastle and not go backwards again. I always feel that every time that we find a little something, we find something good, that the next game we go like 7 steps backwards. Today, we built on that kind of captain, fantastic performance from Romero and the fight back against Newcastle. And today we went out there and I was buzzing from the beginning. Not only did we have the goal shot on target, but we had goals in the first half. We had expression, my friend. We had some inspiration. We had desire, and I really feel that today, and fingers crossed it continues. But today, something finally clicked. So I am ecstatic to be on with you, beautiful gentlemen from around the world. Dave, debutant as well from New Zealand. We've got Melvyn from Malta. Look at that, you know what I mean? And all of you beautiful people around the world that are tuning into us now, make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you get involved, because today's a happy day.
I only asked how you were. You've given us your analysis. You've introduced all the guests. You've done everything. We might as well stop now.
Buzzing, mate. Buzzing. You know me.
Back also is Melvyn, all the way from Malta. Melvyn, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Like Rick said, I'm very happy with the performance, with the 3 points, with the other fixtures as well, can we say? Very happy. Delighted with some of the players today. The Newcastle game, I felt we were cheated. And I kind of feel that when you have a little bit of an injustice, the team kind of gets closer together. And I felt they took that momentum into this game. Romero, I think, brilliantly there. I think he was excellent today. Very happy with his performance. Very happy with Xavi. I'm sure we'll get into it. I think he was, man of the match. Very difficult not to give it to him. He was excellent. I thought we matched them for physicality. I also thought Brentford were a bit poor, but I think we made them a bit poor. I think excellent all around. I don't think there was many bad players today. I think they were all really, really solid performance today. I mean, Richie keeps scoring. Very happy for him. Jet Spence, I think, will not be mentioned very much, but I think he was magnificent today. He reminds me of how Gareth Bale used to just run and run and run and run. It's incredible, his running. He's very powerful player. Club signing Jet Spence as well, I must say. But yeah, very happy with the 3 points. We're not very far off top 4, are we? I know we're in a bit of a meltdown at the moment, but the table is so tight together. You get 2 wins on the spin, all of a sudden we'll start talking about competing for the league again. It's a tight table, and
Well, it's wide open after today's results. As you've mentioned, it is wide open. We'll talk about that as well. Joining us, as Ricky said, for the very first time on the Spurs Chat podcast is Dave Manville, all the way from New Zealand. Dave, I understand it is early morning there, so welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, cheers for having us, guys. That was a good intro, Ricky. I love your energy. Yeah, it's a pretty early start, 10 to 4 in the morning I got up, so it's well worth it, especially to get a big W. I was also a little bit surprised with the lineup again, just the way he's got brought Gray and how Bergvall went out. I was really surprised with that. That was probably about it. It was great to see, so good, almost relieved for Simmons, because he hasn't played more than half a game in the last three games, Premier League games, and for him to be able to express himself, that was like the biggest highlight. And I thought, along with Spence and Curtis, those two were immense. But I almost felt like Brentford were a little bit undone from Arsenal, maybe. I don't know. It just felt like they just weren't on it. And we exploited that. I thought we'd come out firing. We could have won by a lot more, I thought. We had a lot of chances. And like you said, Chris, in the first half too, it's good to see, especially after Newcastle, because we didn't lay a glove on them in the first half. It was poor. Like Melvyn said, we were robbed a bit, but I actually felt like they probably could have had us away by at least 1 or 2 goals at halftime and hit the inside of the post. But it's a positive, such a good, with 3 points off top 4, it's a crazy league, and Chelsea dropping points, Arsenal losing, loving that. It's a good start to my Sunday.
Absolutely, as you mentioned there, Dave, 3 points off the top 4. What a positive day for all of us Tottenham Hotspur fans. Now let's get straight into it. Ricky, before I come to you, Spurs 2, Brentford 0. Richarlison with the first goal in the first half in the 25th minute. Javi Simmons doubling Tottenham's lead on 43 minutes. Now, as Dave mentioned there, Spurs are 3 points off the top 4. So we now have 22 points from the opening 15 games. It is extremely tight in there right now. Now, the match facts and stats, Spurs had 53.3% of the ball to Brentford's 46.7%. XG, much better from Spurs, 2.15 to Brentford's 0.29. Shots, Spurs had 15 to Brentford's 4. And shots on target, Spurs had 7 to Brentford's 1. Total touches inside the opposition box, Spurs 24, Brentford 17. Goalkeeper saves, Vicario only 1, Kelleher with 5, Aerial Jules 1, Spurs 14, Brentford 16. Fouls committed, Spurs 8, Brentford 9. And corners, Spurs had 7 to Brentford's 6. Now, Ricky, let's come to you. How relieved are you as a Spurs fan that not only have we got the win today, it's another clean sheet for Tottenham, back to winning ways. We've got a win here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The last time we won here in the Premier League was on the opening weekend, 3-0 against Burnley. We've had some tough games here. We've had a lot of booing here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it was so nice. I know we'll get onto it, but at the halftime break, it was so nice hearing and seeing all of the Spurs fan base applauding the players off. And, I feel like this is a big win today.
Massive win, bro. But you know what? To be fair to the crowd, and you're always in it, Chris, but to be fair to the crowd, today the players from minute 1, they were on their toes. They were pushing forward. And then the crowd got behind them even more. Every time that we continue to dominate or continue to press and continue to shoot and continue to attack, the crowd got behind them every single time. So when a little mistake did happen, or when we lost the ball, it wasn't a big major meltdown. Today we went on like we were the bigger, better side, and it's about time. Talking there about kind of, all right, maybe Brentford was a poor side, and maybe they've got a hangover from the Guna loss or something like that. It doesn't matter. We was up against Fulham that didn't win away from home. We was up against Wolves. We was up against all of these other sides, and we tend to give them opportunities and encouragement to not only play but to try and win against us. Today we didn't give Brentford an opportunity. Not only were we dominant and front-footed and always pushing to attack and with the overlapping runs and stuff like that, but we were solid at the back. How many touches did Vicario have today? Not many. And the few that he had, he dealt with easily. It's when we start using Vicario as an outfield player and as the only option, that's when it becomes a problem. That was one of my problems against Newcastle. There was times that we had periods of 5-10 minutes of attacking, but every single time we got up there, it went all the way back to Vicario. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Today, we didn't do that. We dominated the ball. Mickey, Romero, immense at the back. Porro found his feet again. He was all over it today. Spence, like Melvyn said earlier, absolutely immense today. Running power, he had space. He was picking up second balls. The second balls today, we was winning our duels. We was picking up the second balls. The ball was bouncing for us because we were playing that way. We were playing with momentum. We were playing with energy. We was playing to win. We were playing like we were the bigger side, and we were playing like Brentford were not going to get a thing. And these boys, finally, hopefully the team has clicked because there was pride in there. I feel that they've got a bit fed up, and they've got a bit, peed off a little bit about results and performances. And suddenly something happened because it wasn't just one performer. It wasn't just get the ball out to Kudus. Kudus was fantastic again today. Should have got his goal today. But it wasn't just get the ball up to Kudus. There was options everywhere. Xavi, was on his toes, was up and down that field, picked up the ball from defence, kept that the flow and the momentum going, and got himself into advanced areas and was making those passes, was being a great option. A lot of Brentford's defence didn't know what to do with Kudus or Xavi, who to pick up. And then you got Richie come in there, who today, for me, when he was playing well beginning of the season, I said something along the lines where he was running in rhythm, right? He was running on his toes. I normally feel that he runs on his heels when he's playing bad, and it looks very heavy. It looks very laboured. But today he was on it as well. Yes, he was on the ground. Of course he was on the ground, but he wasn't on the ground as much as he was at Newcastle or any previous other game. So today they stood up. Today they came together, and like Melvyn said, maybe after a bit of adversity, that they're like, all right and cool, and it's galvanized them a little bit. I'm praying and I'm hoping that this is not a one-off, and this is where we take the springboard. We take the jump. We start to push, because this is an example of what I was looking for from a Thomas Frank side. I didn't know what Thomas Frank brought to us, and I was always confused because there's been a lot of confusion in the last couple of months. But today, there was the structure. There was the defensive solidity. There was the midfield playing through ball. Bentancur played about 2-3 through balls today. So everybody was looking forward. We picked up the ball and our shoulders turned to go forward. It was always going forward. And look what a difference that makes. Not only to the result, but to the energy of the players on the field. They were all on it then. Then the crowd gets up behind you. Then everybody's pushing with you. It was a really all-round dominant display. I was really happy with that performance today. Not just the result, because I described our style of football. The only thing that I could describe our style of football to after Newcastle and after these last couple of months was relegation football. It was hope football. It was, let's hold on. We're the smaller side here. Let's hold on to these big, massive sides, and hopefully we might be able to get a draw or nick a goal. That's how it felt to me. The only way I could describe it was relegation football. And even like when against Newcastle, I was like, well, it was almost, fantastic performance by Captain Romero, but it was almost like he was the one that had enough. He was the one player that had enough and was like, all right, cool, I'm going to do it by myself. And he made it happen by himself. Beautiful header and a great overhead kick. Today, I feel that Romero or whoever, they've got together and they've shaken each other up and they've gone, can we please show the whole league and ourselves and our crowd what type of players we are, what type of side we are, and what type of team we are. I saw a team performance today, and I need that. We need that to continue. We need to see more of that because Brentford was worried about us today and everything that we were doing. We wasn't worried about Brentford, and that's been one of my criticisms as well over the last couple of months. I feel that we're catering too much to our opposition. We're worried too much about what they can present to us rather than what we take to them. So, the only worry any opposition side had was Kudus. Double up on Kudus and the game's done. But today, there were so many people that were on it, so many players that was on it, that we stretched Brentford, and we scored goals and they were worried about us every single time we got on the attack. First time passes, overlapping passes. Every single time that we've had an overlap in recent games, we haven't taken that overlap and we've passed it backwards or we've passed it sideways. Today, it was always forward, and that's why I'm buzzing today. I needed to see that. Well done. Yes, I've been critical of Thomas Frank. Well done to Frank for whatever game plan, whatever tactics that you put out today. That's what I needed to see. I need to see it continue. I need to see us building this, and I need to see us move forward if we're going to be on this Thomas Frank train. But today, Chris, I was delighted.
I think we need to start seeing some consistency actually from Frank.
I was going to say that, Dave.
This is the point now. He needs to go, right, we've got some players that have been brought to the side and then they've been pulled out again the next week. That's happened so many times. Like Xavi's, he's got to go straight back. Doesn't matter who we're playing. Xavi's got to start again. You can see on the ball when he gets it and he gets that room and we're not playing long, we're going through the midfield and he's got some time. He uses his body a lot better today. He's just shown a little more tenacity. I think when he gets the ball, when he's able to dribble, take a couple of steps forward, he comes to life with confidence. And I think it's up to Frank now. He's got to give these boys some confidence in terms of their understanding of their role in the side, because he's chipped and changed so many times with the midfield in particular. Like, I understand changing between Bentancur and Palhinha because they play a similar role. But I just think there needs to be a bit more consistency with, I actually think Xavi and Bergvall would work well in front of either Palhinha and Bentancur. I just don't think the pivot works. I don't know. It just, for me, that's the way. I just want to see him start giving players back-to-back chances a lot more, and just because that's how you get your confidence. Otherwise, you're like, well, I thought I played well today. I scored a goal, and then suddenly you're on the bench next week. And there's so many players. If you look through them all, they're like miss two, come in, and vice versa. They're just two all over the show.
But you know what? With Xavi, he had bite and he had fight today. Do you know what I mean? It was both of those things, and he had an opportunity to express himself.
He's tough on the ball. He's so good on the ball. His touch, his ability just to pivot and just spread the ball. He reminds me of Maddison in some ways.
Yeah.
But with a little bit more with the youthfulness, and he's got that. Yeah, he explodes off the block quite well when he gets the ball going forward. And for me, it's him and Kudus are dead certs in there, and I think Bergvall needs to be that next one that needs to be in there. They need to be part of that attacking. And Moani, I really like Moani.
Me too.
I'm not sure. I still don't think there's a place in the side for Richarlison. His touch, his hold-up play, I just don't find as good. I know he got his goal today, but hey, Johnson got a lot of goals, right? A lot of tap-ins like Richarlison did today, but how much did Johnson do outside of those tap-ins, during the game? And now he's out of the picture. You look at his minutes over the last 6 or 7 games, Johnson doesn't seem to be in the reckoning. So there's a lot of positives, but I think Frank's got to get on it now. That gets some momentum.
Absolutely. We'll talk about consistency in a second, Dave. Melvyn, let me come back to you. Let's get your thoughts on today's win, because as I said to Ricky, it feels like a bit of a relief. And, Thomas Frank, it's fair to say he's come under a lot of criticism, certainly in the last couple of weeks with the playing style.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at the fixtures we played. We played Arsenal, PSG, Newcastle, tough fixtures. I think even with a full healthy squad, they would have been difficult games. Yeah, I mean, at Tottenham, you're always going to have pressure. We need to win. We need to put on a performance and be competitive. And today we definitely did that. I thought he was smart with how he rotated between Newcastle and Brentford, five changes. I think that's something we didn't do well last season. We kept playing the same players, and obviously then they got injured, and it kept snowballing, which why we had the injury crisis. But I think this season Frank deserves credit of how he managed to rotate between Romero, Van de Ven, and Dragozin. Not Dragozin, Kevin Danso. The same with the midfield 4-5. I thought he was a bit stubborn in the beginning, playing Bentancur and Paulinho all the time. I think Archie Gray and Bergvall are honestly the future of this club. I'm not gonna take out Sarr from that statement as well. I think he's a very good player, had a very good start, and is very useful and effective in this team in certain games. I also think Koulibaly was excellent today. I think the pressing was excellent today. I was trying to figure out the shape of the team, because when we press with Xavi, and I didn't expect that. I thought Xavi was quite central with Richarlison and Koulibaly, kind of like a 4-4-2, but I couldn't understand the shape. But I thought he was really smart the way he used Jet Spence, Porro, and he kept Bentancur and Gray still, kind of like as two CDMs with a double pivot, like Dave was saying. I'm not a tactician. I don't understand the formation he was playing. I couldn't understand it. I'll have to watch the game back. But I thought today it worked really well. I think Xavi is growing into the role, understanding the physicality of the Premier League, knowing that he doesn't have time on the ball. But two quality moments for Xavi. It just shows you. I think if those chances fell to Odegaard, I think he might have not scored or got the assist. But because Xavi has such quality on the ball, even his passing, his range, he found Richarlison a few times. Credit to Richarlison for scoring again. You know me, Chris. I'm a big fan of Richarlison. I love the player. I love his attitude. I love how he treats the fans on and off the pitch. Such a lovely guy. And he scored again today. This is our top scorer at the football club at the moment, Richarlison, by the way. So he needs to be shown support, shown love, courage, because for me, excellent game, excellent performance. And I really, really wanted Koulibaly to score. I think he's desperate for a goal, and he needs it. He desperately needs it. We need to get that monkey off his back. Xavi got it off today, and I think he'll grow from that performance. Happy overall. Obviously, Bentancur was excellent. Gray had a performance that he can build on, finally playing in his position. I know last season Gray played at centre-back the entire season, hardly played any minutes playing in his natural position. I honestly think Gray is a fantastic talent, and I'm very happy with him, and I think we can build a spine, a team around these players. They just need, time, patience, support, especially support. The atmosphere from here seemed to be good in moments, really good in moments, which is something that we've lacked this season. I'm always one to mention atmosphere, because that's the one thing I miss about the club, and something I love about our football club. When it's good, it's really good, but when it's bad, it's really bad. Today, I think it was good, to get 2 goals and play quite stylish football, and it should have been more. I thought Sarr could have made it 3. Even Richarlison had a chance to bury it, and Koulibaly could have scored. It could have been more. On another day, it would be. I think the team is still young. It needs patience. Frank is still learning who his best lineup is. I don't think the fans even know. I think he learned that Bentancur and Paulinho together is quite boring and it's too safe. You need to have legs and you need to have young players in their youth to make something exciting happen. Very happy to have Xavi. I'm buzzing. We needed that. We needed to see something out of him. So overall, happy, very happy.
Now, Captain Christian Romero has just written the following on X. Great match from the whole team today. We've definitely got plenty of things to improve, keep working on and keep getting better at. But this is the right path. See you on Tuesday. Thanks for your constant support, fans, all together, always. Now, Dave, you mentioned so many things there. I want to come back to you on a few things. You mentioned about the starting 11. This was the starting 11 today in number order. I know Ricky hates the number order. Vicario, Javi, Richarlison, Gray, Romero as captain, Kudus, Pedro Porro, Spence, Bentancur, Van de Ven and Kolo Muani. And subs today, Kinski, Danso, Polinia, Tell, Bergvall, Johnson, Odegaard, Sarr and Davis. What did you make of the starting 11 today? Because, of course, Xavi Simons hasn't had many starts, particularly recently in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt. And it proved, a great decision today to put Xavi Simons in from the start with a goal and an assist. And also, Dave, what I wanted to ask you is that Thomas Frank has had a lot of criticism by a lot of fans, by a lot of pundits in recent weeks. Can this be a turning point for Thomas Frank?
So of all the December fixtures, this is the one that I thought was the banker. This is the one that we had to win, right? Of all the fixtures, they're not an easy run. We've got Liverpool and Palace coming up after Forest in the league. But I think I would have started Bergvall over Gray. That was probably my only real change. But I think he probably saw this as an opportunity to get Xavi in a game that maybe he can build some confidence. Because I think as much as we can't take too much out of this game, I think it's going to be really good for the boys' confidence moving into the next games. I think there's players like Tell and Johnson who clearly aren't in Frank's plans at the moment because they're not going to really get any minutes. But the side I thought was fine. Obviously, Udogi's injured. So Porro, I think his energy levels are brilliant, but I just think his crossing, he just needs to work on his crossing. So many balls he either underhits, he end up just hitting them real hard into the first defender. They just often get blocked. He doesn't seem to get his crosses in quite well enough, I don't think. But it's a real good confidence booster. But we've got some tough games. I just think, this is kind of the strongest lineup we've possibly got, other than Bergvall coming in. And as I say, Polinia and Bentancur can probably rotate, but I think this is probably the strongest lineup other than that.
And Dave, on Thomas Frank, has the criticism from the pundits and the fans, has it been fair?
I think it's 100% fair. The one thing I feel is that there's a lot of squads out there, teams that are worth a lot less money and probably poorer squads that are playing better. Look at Palace. It goes to show you it's not, the whole reason he was brought in, part of it anyway, was partly because there was doubt about Ange's ability to develop the young players. And there was all this positive chat of Frank being able to do that. And so far, I haven't seen it. So that and the fact that he's not settled on a starting lineup, and we're so many games deep, like that should be established in the first half a dozen games at the max. So I kind of feel like he's totally getting the criticism that has been warranted, because you think we were so poor. Ange might have lost a few games, and we got hammered by injuries last year. But we've only really got 2 injuries. And how bad we were against Arsenal, Wolves, United, Chelsea, Monaco, even Bodo, and in the first half against Newcastle. the fans have jumped on a bit of a bandwagon of negativity towards Frank because of the performances and just the inability to lay a glove, just the lack of shots, lack of drive going forward. So he's under, well, his criticism levels are totally justified in my mind. It's up to him now to actually go, I'm going to go with these guys and I'm going to see if I can get some cohesion, just like a bit of consistency in the selection, because every time he names a side, it's like, why has he rested him? Because you look at United, and Burma and Fernandes have started every single game in the Premier League. I know they're not playing in Europe, but you're still. I think he needs to back players and not worry about them getting injured. Maybe he's just not used to dealing with such a big squad, having been with Bournemouth and starting almost the same lineup every single game because he's got such a threadbare squad. Maybe he just feels like he needs to please all these players, but there's got to be a balance between rotating and pleasing players and giving everyone minutes and taking a low risk approach to injuries and actually getting performances and results off the back of it, off these games, because that's the way I see it. I just he's under pressure still. This is just a one-off game that we should have won, and Brentford were poor, like Melvyn said, Ricky said, they were certainly poor. So it's all gonna, we've got some good testing fixtures to come in December. So he's not out of the woods.
Ricky, before we get into the game itself, do you want to have your say about the starting 11 today? And also, I want to get your thoughts on where you are with Thomas Frank, because I know in the last couple of podcasts you haven't been happy. And it's so nice because a lot of the viewers have actually written in so far on this stream and said, the old Ricky is back.
Well, this is what Tottenham does to you, isn't it? It does it to you. On the formation, I felt it was a 4-2-3-1, but what I was really impressed with today, lineup wise, I would have gone with Paulinho instead of Bentancur. Only reason being is that Bentancur started the last 3 or 4, I think it is, and he's come back from knee injuries and stuff, so it was just almost like prevention. So I would have swapped them 2 out, but I think it was a 4-2-3-1 today. But my thing that I was really impressed with was the rotation. So Kolo Muani came into the number 9. Richie went out to the left. There was times that Xavi was over on the left. There was times that Kudus and Xavi swapped and Xavi went to the right. Or they allowed Porro to come in and Kudus and Xavi doubled up in the middle. There was so many times that we rotated for the betterment of our play, and it confused Brentford and it gave us more opportunities to show our expression and to get on the attacking front foot. My criticism with Frank, okay, so I normally judge my managers always after 10 Premier League games. After 10 Premier League games, I normally know roughly who they are, what they're about. They've normally gone through a few bad results, come out the other side, and I'm like, okay, cool. We've seen something good, we've seen something bad, we've seen something ugly, and then I can get a fair representation. I didn't have that after 10 Premier League games. I was still confused about what Frank Ball was and what he brought to the side. I knew that he gave us some defensive structure and solidity in there, but anything else going forward, I was a bit confused about. Then we hit the Chelsea game, which was horrendous. Talk about laying a glove. We couldn't even raise our elbow to throw the jab, let alone think about a jab or even a flinch. It was horrendous. It was a shocking performance, that Chelsea game. You then go into Copenhagen. We start playing some football, 4-0. Again, this is where my apprehension comes from as well, because 4-0 against Copenhagen, playing first touch football, popping it off. Again, good attacking play, good goals. Should have got more in that game. And then you hit international break, but then you come back to the Gooners, right? And after Chelsea, you need to show up in that game. Now, we know how results have gone at their house over the years. So we know. But you've got to go in there to fight. You've got to go in there to show them what you're about. And again, when we couldn't lay a glove on the Gooners at all, and we just let them play, and we just stayed in our own half, and it was dire negative anti-football that we was playing. That's when I was like, what are we doing here? Because to me, it's almost like a final, right? It's almost like, so in my head, I'm looking at Frank going, okay, cool. You're going up against, at that time, though, a team that are top of the league right now, got the defense on lock, got their £100 million player in midfield. They've bought their striker. They've bought their, you know what I mean? They've replaced the holes that they've had in the squad, especially this season. So you go, all right, and cool. So it's almost like a final. And when we set up the way that we set up, with the formation that we set up with, and we played the way that we played, so anti-football, so negative, again, not being able to raise our elbow to throw a jab. Yes, Richarlison scored in that game, but by that time, it really didn't matter. And it was never like we was getting back into this game. I was very, very, very concerned with what Thomas Frank was bringing to this team, because I was like, if we was in the Champions League final, is that the type of side that you're going to put up? Is that the type of tactics that you're going to put up? Is that how we're going to play against a quote unquote big side? No, I've always said on this channel every single season, I like the opposition to worry about us and not us worry about the position. Do you know what I mean? Let them worry about us. We don't need to worry about them. Let's give them more things to worry about than we're worrying about them. Yes, you've got to be adaptable. Yes, you've got to know their danger points, but they should be more worried about us. And we've given no team any reason to worry about us. So, all right, cool. Then we get to Fulham. Fulham, bro, I didn't get to see the game. But I was away, and when I went to check, I was about to put it on TalkSport so that I could listen to it. When I went to check the result, after 6 minutes, I saw that we was 2-0 down, and all I could do was laugh, right? Hysterically laugh. I'm like, what is happening here? What is going on here? What is going on here? So then we're on rocky ground again, right? Okay, cool. There was a bit of a fight back in that second half, but then we're on rocky ground again. Then we get to Newcastle. And again, I was really not impressed with that game, because it felt like the same type of narrative. It felt the same as Chelsea, Gooners, you know, and it felt like those same similar types of games where we're playing like a League One side that have just been promoted to the Premier League, and hopefully we can hang on for a point. Didn't like that style of play at all. And this is what started to worry me. So today, it has been fantastic. A total opposite, right? Total opposite of everything that we've seen. So when we talk about critique of Frank, you've got to say fair critique, bro, because I'm not just here to hate him. I'm not just here to pull him out because I was on, I had Angie's back. It's not because I've had Angie's back. Angie's gone. Angie's gone, right? And now we've got this guy. Go on,
Ricky. Sorry. I have to just say this. Every Spurs fan wants it to work for a manager. We all want it to work.
That's it. When they're wearing our shirt, bro, and when they're representing us, I back you. And I tried to show patience to see what you was about. Like I said, after 10 games, I still had no clue. But when you come up against these big team, quote unquote big teams, and the way that we couldn't raise an elbow, let alone anything else, I'm like, yo, like that's when I'm like, the writing's on the wall here. The writing is on the wall, because it's not just against Chelsea, PSG, Gooners. It was against Fulham, Wolves, Bournemouth. All right, Bournemouth had a good start, but still, do you know what I mean? It was against these sides where we should be pulling up trees. We should have been doing what we done today against those sides, but we didn't. And so it was fair criticism to me, because I was like, this is what I'm seeing. The only consistent thing that we had, Chris, was 0.0 something XG. That's the consistency that we had. The only consistency that we had was not having a shot on target, sometimes not even having a shot in the first half. That's the consistency that we had, and that's what was worrying me. So today, total opposite. It was refreshing. It was relief. It was great to see us go out there and let Brentford worry about us. Like I said, maybe Brentford are poor, but we have let poor sides play their game and feel like they're encouraged to go and score or to go and win. Today, we didn't give them an opportunity. Now, for me, it's all about where we go next with Frank. So today, I will give Frank his dues and say, good tactics today, good lineup. well done on creating the structure and having that balance between defense and attack. It wasn't sideways, it was forward. So whatever you've done in training this week, big up yourselves. Do you know what I mean? And again, to the players as well that took that onto the field and made it happen. So I will give you a big green tick today, and I'll say, well done. He had to have a performance like that today against his old side and his set piece coach. He had to, otherwise we would have gone mental on the pods and in the ground and everywhere around the world that support this beautiful team. But today we saw a glimpse of what that can be, what the positive can be, what the front foot can be, what the greatness can be of this side. And we need to build on that. And like Romero said, that's why I'm happy with what he said there. Still loads to improve on, still loads of levels to go up. But today we showed a lot. And today, for the first time in a very, very, very long time, the team 1 to 11 clicked. And especially that up front, they were clicking, rotating, trusting each other as well. They were trusting each other for the overlap, or they was trusting each other for that kind of sneaky ball or that risky ball where they've a player's got 2 Brentford players around him, but you could get out, or you could give it to Kudus and he was twisting and turning and leaving people in his wake. So with Frank needed that. Yes, everyone's talking about in his time and stuff like that, but with the performances that I was seeing, bro, that time was ticking. That time was running out. Today, you've got yourself a respite, but we've got Nottingham Forest coming up, new manager, another new manager. They're climbing a little bit, finding their feet. Sean Dyche, when we talk about fits of manager, Dyche fits Nottingham Forest and their style of play. So it's going to be a tough one, but then we've got Liverpool coming up. So can we build on this? Can we continue this? Can we see us? We've got Slavia as well, but can we start showing our personality? Can we start showing the league what they need to be worried about? Can we start showing who we are as a team going forward and not just this kind of let me wait and see type of team? So on Frank, really good. I'll give you your praise today, my friend. First time in a very, very long time that I can remember that what you said in the press conference, your words matched your actions. You know what I mean? So he said we're front foot, we're going to attack, we want to shoot more, all of these things in his press conference. And today we saw it. First time that I've seen that in a very long time where the words met the actions. So well done, Thomas. I want you to continue this. I want you and your coach staff to continue this so that I'm not here criticizing you. I'm not here, giving you stick and piling on the pressure. And I want to praise you. I want to encourage you. And I want this team to be playing more like today than they have in the past. Let's see what happens when we come up against the quote-unquote bigger sides, i.e. Liverpool coming up. But it's about this. But there were really good things today, bro. There was really good things that I saw. Instead of being planted in one spot, the rotation of up front, when I saw Kudus come into the middle because he was being doubled up on the right, I was like, yes. When I saw Xavi moving from left to right, I was like, yes. Left to right and up and down, Xavi. Colo as well, doubling up and trying to make a strike partnership with Richie at times, but then using the left. He was very unlucky not to score today as well. So there was loads of positives today. It's just one game, yes. You could say it's against a poor side, but let me tell you, going into this game, we were 19 points, same points as Brentford. So let's continue this. Let's see what you're about in the next game, and hopefully this is a springboard for us moving forward, bro.
Absolutely. Melvyn, before I come to you, we're now going to hear from Thomas Frank. This is the post-match press conference. It lasts about 8.5 minutes.
Hi there, Thomas. Was that just what you and the team needed, a kind of really vibrant attacking display?
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes you work hard on things and sometimes it just suddenly click. I said before, the team has been a little bit out of sync in some stages. Today, a lot more players were on the same page at the same time throughout the game. I think we looked such a threat going forward. Create chances, played with pace, tempo, I think penetration, unpredictable. So I like that. It's everything we'd like to be, but also being aggressive in the pressure and they still have that clean sheet mentality. We're giving four shots away, which is very good against a Brentford team we know is very difficult to handle when they play behind, and their directness and their set pieces. So overall, just a complete performance, I would say.
Could that be the breakthrough performance of Xavi as well for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think every player need that extra good performance. So happy for him. He's been working very hard. He's a top pro. He's so determined. He wanted so badly in every aspect of his game, and it's just a little bit of adaptation. Also that the team a little bit out of sync, and now it was more. Also, for example, let's say. Kudos after a great start, a little dip because of the little injury, and a lot more better today. Xavi is in a good place, Cowlin in a better place, Richie. So just everything just coming more and more together. So now we need to build on it.
Just quick on No Destiny today. What's his injury?
Got a soft tissue injury, unfortunately, against Newcastle.
Would it keep him out long?
Not too long. Not too long. Yeah.
Thank you, George.
Quite interesting to see Thiago, a player that you signed yourself, but the Spurs defence dealt very, very confidently with him. So you must have found that quite an interesting thing to see, because you obviously know him well, having signed him for Brentford.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that I know all the players in Brentford well, except the 2 or 3 they signed this summer. So there was, in many ways, very special to meet them. It was nice to see familiar faces. You always want to have more time before and after. There had to be, if it was not a draw, it had to be a loser. Then everyone is competitive. So it was very nice to see people, see them there.
George. Hi, Thomas. Did you feel Xavi was kind of building up to that, and how kind of important can it be for him to get that first goal? Because a new signing always wants that first goal to kind of get that monkey off the back.
Exactly. I think every player need that extra bit of confidence, and that comes from his performance, the team's performance, and I think that assist and the goal, I think gave him that extra bit of how can I say, lightness in his step or and his touches and everything. So for him was also an all-round very good performance.
And Archie Gray's performance won't sort of make headlines, but you put him in again, and it felt like he was really good against Mikkel Damsgaard. How kind of pleased were you to sort of put him in after last Saturday's difficult performance and to see him kind of flourish?
Yeah, I think he did well. I must say, that there was a few others shined maybe more. But for example, when Jet Spence was bombarding forward, he was very disciplined, young age, to be there on that side, taking care of that rest defending position. I think he handled all the tricky situations with the ball, got out of it. It was always a good support, and he covered ground and very well. So I think it was you said a very solid performance.
Hello, Thomas. There seemed a much better mood at half-time. Obviously, you were 2-0 up, but it was quite notable.
That helps a little bit.
That helps. But it was notable around where we were sitting that...
Say again, sorry?
It was notable where we were sitting, that the fans really responded to that. And almost like there was I don't know if you sensed it, a conscious effort on their part to do it.
The Spurs fans are great fans, and... sometimes there's ups, sometimes there's downs in football and life. But I like how the team responded. I like how the whole stadium, the fans, I could say, responded. And I noticed, maybe it was me, but I noticed when Vicario's name was Xuereb, I think extra high, raw, and I love that. That makes me warm inside, because that's where you support your player, because they should, no one, how can you say, talking bad about our players. The fans should feel like that. No one. They should protect them. And I think today there was a fantastic energy between both the team and the fans.
Jay.
Hey Thomas, congrats on the win. Have you said anything to Xavi in the dressing room after the game?
Yeah, I said, what did I say? I said, well done. Really great response, good performance.
I have another question about Xavi for you. But that second goal, I think he starts in his own half. How helpful, how good is it to have a player like that who can, in tight games, I'm not saying this was a tight game, but in general, just produce a moment like that out of nothing?
Well, that's what I believe from the beginning, that Xavi can produce that out of nothing. And we say, everything just need a little bit of adaptation sometimes with everything, him, the team, everything. And this was a very good step. Now it's the next thing to do it again and again and again. But yeah, very happy for him.
Chuck.
Thomas, it would always be nice to get a win, but is there any greater sense of relief knowing the sort of noise there would have been had you lost to your former club?
I didn't, very happy with the win. I think that's the most important thing. We use enough time on thoughts that we can't do anything about. So now I'm just very happy. I think we built on a good Newcastle performance as well. And today, what I would say, I was just extremely happy with the offensive performance. Just looked more right today.
And you mentioned building on things. Is that the message now, that especially offensively, that this is sort of the standard? We know you can do this now.
Yeah, that is the standard. Sometimes there's more tight games, as we know, but I like what I saw from the team, and that's what we need to build on and try to become even better.
Just behind as well, yeah.
Thomas,
yeah.
Did it help that you knew so much about the Brentford team, set pieces, that type of thing, that you were able to set up to really dominate the game?
Yeah, but I've been in this league for this is the 5th season, so I know very well Pep Guardiola's City team, for example. But of course, he had some inside-out information of some of the players. So I think it was like a normal preparation, just with small extra information bits on some players.
And have you had a chat with Keith Andrews at all, or had the job at the job he's doing?
Yeah, in general, we had a few talks through the last 4 months, but today I hope we have a beer or glass of red now after.
Hi Thomas, a first league win since the opening day at home. How important is that going forward to make this place a harder place for teams to come now?
It's hugely important. Hugely important that we won home, but also the performance. We need to keep building on it.
We'll just finish up down here. Just one down there, please.
Here?
Microphone down there. Thank you.
Hi, Thomas. You said you thought the attack looked more right. Is it about connections, understanding? What was it in particular that you were admiring of?
Yeah, I think a few things. We worked very hard on the structure, how we want the structure to be, with which position we wanted for, let's say, Xavi and Mo and Richie and Colo, and also the 2 sitters, and how we pushed Jet a little bit higher. That, and then I think more of the players were more in form, sharper together. All that I think helped today.
Did you know that was going to come? Did you see that in training? Or?
Yeah, to be fair, I thought we had a very good training yesterday. I think just looked again more right. I think the team in general on paper looked right today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Melvyn, let's come to you. Let's get your reaction on Thomas Frank's comments there after our 2-0 win at home here against Brentford. It's nice to see a Spurs manager smiling after a match, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I haven't done the pod in a while. I think this is the second one this season. So obviously, last season I was on much more frequent and I used to voice my opinion a lot. So I haven't had the chance to say how I really feel about the current situation with the manager, with the squad, with the team. But I'm 100% Frank in. I always have been. I always support the manager, sometimes blindly, but I like to use logic with how I assess things and how I feel about the manager. And I think he's done an okay job, but it's been very difficult for him to have lost Heung-min Son, James Maddison, Solanke, Kulusevski. That's a lot of goals, a lot of assists. That's 4 key players. And I think he's not done that bad. I think I really like certain aspects of Frank, the way he did solidify the team defensively, and but there's obviously still lots of progress to be made. I think when the club went for Frank, I think they said we have lots of raw young talent with a lot of potential, and Frank can extract that little bit more out of every single player. I think I said this before, but I'm really excited to see what he does with Bergvall and Gray going forward the next few years. I think we have a lot of players that he can get more out of. Even speaking, for example, Van de Ven, I think he'll get more out of these players. I think Xavi today won us the game on his own because 2 pure moments of magic from him and resulted in 2 goals. A goal and an assist. On another day, if Xavi didn't do that, this could have ended in a loss. And I think it's very, very important for Frank to get the best out of Xavi, get his confidence up. I think he didn't play him against Arsenal and Newcastle for a reason. I think physically, perhaps he protected him, worked on it in the training pitch. I like what he said about the shape. It seems to be something that they worked on. I think Gray was very, very smart on the pitch. I think if Bergvall played in that position today, I would not have agreed with, because Bergvall has a tendency to push up and attack, while I think Gray is more intelligent in covering in defense, like intercepting where the danger is going to be, covering behind Spence. I think they work really well together. I think they complement each other because Spence wants to attack, wants to run forward, wants to pull the defender, stretch the defense. So I'm happy with Frank. I'm the type of fan that obviously I want to win, but at the same time, if I'm seeing progress and if I see, youth being played and being used for the future, I can stomach bad performances. And I just think we're heading in the right direction. The team needs time. I think losing Maddison was huge because Maddison last season saved us so many games. A ball over the top from Romero into Maddison, he scores. A quick 1-2, Maddison. Even though Maddison annoys me sometimes, I just thought last season he saved us many games. Especially in Europe, Frankfurt away, Bodo Glimt, United. A few games I can mention that Maddison was crucial, and losing him in the team, and it's very difficult to replace him. I think Xavi could do a job. As from today, like Ricky was saying, it's a springboard. There's momentum now. There's a bit of happiness, and Xavi will grow from that performance. My issue is teams will target him physically, but today he held his own. He won the ball. I saw a stat. He won the ball 9 times today, which is more than Archie Gray with 8 ball recoveries. Actually, I think it was defensive contributions, not recoveries, but it just shows that he's putting his body on the line, and he's trying to pick up, the physicality of the Premier League. So going forward, Xavi is key for this team, and I just have a feeling that results will be around if Xavi performs on the day. It's like if he has a moment of pure magic and does a quick 1-2 or a through ball, or takes a really nice shot, something like that. And I just think there's going to be, Frank said it, there's going to be losses where people are going to be, he doesn't know what he's doing and get frustrated. Especially Ricky was mentioning the fixtures coming up. Obviously, the Liverpool game, the Nottingham Forest game. Obviously, a win will push us forward in the table, and that will be massive for the fans, for the team, for the happiness of the club. But there's going to be losses, and it's going to take a couple more games. Solanke coming back is going to help. Kulusevski coming back is going to be massive for the club. I can't wait to have Kulusevski back, because I think he complements the team's physicality, creativity, and a player that you get more output out of, goals, assists. He runs and runs and runs, so he helps defensively. I think he's a player Frank will be looking forward to implement into the team. along with Solanke. So going forward, little comments, slagging off, for example, Richarlison, even in this podcast. Like, these are our players. Support the players, support the club, support the team. These are players that are wearing the shirts. Support them. Don't be like, oh, he's not good enough for the club. He's not. He's wearing the shirt. He's our top scorer. Support these players. I mean, by the end of the season, Richarlison could hit 20 goals at this rate. He's never had this many goals. Well, he could. Last year, I was laughed at when I said Johnson would hit 20 goals, and he did. So, I'll save this because I remember these things. Last season, I was laughed at when I said Johnson will score 20 goals, and he did. So I'll remember this, and I'll remember all three of you, and I'll bring it up in the in the chat because I keep receipts. Chris, you laughed at me a couple of weeks ago when I said Berg, Val and Gray deserve to be played more often.
You haven't been on here. When did I laugh? I haven't been on here. I haven't been on here either.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on, Melvyn. You guys, I tell you guys can talk for England. Or your respective countries. We're going to have to move on. So Ryan Taylor of the Daily Mirror has just stated that Randall Kolo Muani has just limped through the mix zone. The Frenchman was also moving gingerly before he was subbed off. Slight concern for Spurs given how excellent he has been in recent weeks. Now, Dave, before I come to you on Xavi Simons, let's talk about the game itself. The opening 6 or 7 minutes, where, of course, the last home game against Fulham, we were 2-0 down. Spurs actually started this game pretty well. 2 crosses from the right-hand side. One was blocked, went out for a corner, and then one Van de Ven headed over the bar. On 13 minutes, Brentford had a good move up to Thiago and a great tackle from Christian Romero. And I believe that we should be talking about Romero and Van de Ven very highly on this podcast today, because I thought them two today were absolutely excellent. After 16 minutes, Xavi Simons had a shot from 20 yards over the bar. I think a lot of people were expecting and hoping for a shot on target in the first half of a Premier League game. On 22 minutes, a Brentford player went down injured. Thomas Frank very interestingly called over Jed Spence to have a quiet word with him, and Andreas Juulsen, our set-piece coach, called over Van de Ven for a chat. And then 2 minutes later, good ball through to Brentford striker Thiago, who tried a shot first time. Vicario saved, went out for a corner. And then a minute later, Spurs took the lead through Richarlison. Xavi Simons cross. Richarlison, it's literally laid on a plate for him. Dave, like Melvyn said there, and Thomas Frank said in the press conference on Friday, or Thursday, sorry, that Richarlison at the moment is on fire. He cannot stop scoring goals. And Xavi Simons, I must say, I've always believed in Xavi Simons. I think we have signed a superstar. And I think that Thomas Frank has managed his minutes absolutely perfectly. And I know you're going to probably talk about consistency. That's very important. But Xavi Simons today, I thought, was our star man.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, it was so good. I just
Sorry, Dave.
No, that's right. I wasn't sure I was going to a little snippet there. I'm not knocking Richarlison's effort. That's one thing he's never been short of, is he's got immense tenacity. He always puts his body on the line, and I still remember that some European fixtures last year, in particular the final, he was really solid. He was probably the best player on the field. But I just think in moments of there's a lot of moments that require a certain amount of quality, and I don't know if he is able to convert as well as some of the world-class strikers out there. And even, if Solanke was fit and there was a call, would you start? Which one would you start? I'd still choose Solanke, because he is an out-and-out goal scorer. He's proven it, and he's solid. I just really rate him. But hey, who could have been? Frank was talking about Solanke coming back, 5-6 weeks ago. Like, we just can't rely on these players coming back, because who knows when they're going to be available. Whether it's February, I don't know. But Xavi's going to have some tests against Chelsea. He was dispossessed 17 times. Like, does it win as a midfielder dispossessed that many times? Was he shocked? Was he like a possum in the headlights? I just think he was just weak. Like he was so weak. But this is a game where he had space, right? A bit like he gets in the Bundesliga, which he had, but because there's been players talk about how much more room they get there. If you come up against a team like Arsenal, Chelsea that press a lot more, put a lot more pressure on you, on your touch. I mean, there's no doubt in his touch, but he's just not going to have that time. But I just hope, I really do, and I'm confident, like you said, Chris, I think he is. He's a great signing. I just think he needs to go, actually, I need to be a lot tougher. This league is a lot more demanding than what I've been playing in. Like you can almost at the same point of saying you can't judge Lewandowski on his career because he never played in the Premier League. I just think once he just needs to settle in, but with that, he needs minutes. You can't be just pulling him in out of the team because that gives him no confidence. He's, as I said, he's only played maximum 45 of the last 3 games, like before this one. It's his first 90 minutes. We've got to go forward with momentum for him now. You just got to back him. We don't have a lot of. There's not really other options on the bench. Like Bergwall, I think needs to come in. I know Melvyn's a big fan of Gray, and I do think he is solid, but then he is quite more defensively mindset, right? And I think we've got Polina and Bentancur are quite similar, whereas Bergwall's going to offer more going forward, and I think that's where we're missing. We don't have enough going forward at the moment. So if you can somehow get either, I thought it was right maybe I think Polina probably should have started today, but obviously he wants to rotate those 2 boys. I think it's either one or the other maybe at the moment. But I think if you can get Bergwall and Xavi playing with, just going forward and giving us go forward. And I think, once those players do come back, Kulusevski and Solanke, I think we're going to offer a lot more and be a lot more, their X is going to go up. And I think we're going to be a lot more threat offensively. Xavi's, they got to back him.
The thing is with Xavi, though, I think that what people forget as well is that, not only his age, but he's got he's come over from another league, and he is the one that is experienced in playing in different leagues as well. But everywhere that he's been, from when he was in youth training and when he was in the academies, every single guy that he's come up against has been bigger, stronger, and more physical. And he's had to learn how to ride a challenge, how to anticipate a challenge, and et cetera, et cetera. And I agree with you, Dave. Like, against Chelsea, he was lost. He needed to be subbed off, at that point. But hopefully, this performance from him today, and yes, he got space today, but he had tenacity, fight, and bite today. He knew what he was up against today. I think it does take players when you talk about adjustment, it does take players time to figure it out, to understand that every single team that you go up against is going to have some muscle-bound dude that is going to kick or try and kick you up in the air. And you need to be prepared for that every time that you touch the ball. I think once it clicks for him, and it looks like today it clicked, because even the way that he was running, pressing, and like you said there, I think Melvyn said it there, where like Xavi's intercepted the ball 8 times out of 9, or so. He's gone to make recovery tackles 8 times out of 9, as well as put on an assist and score today. And he looked like he was on it, like him and Kudus, the team. But you could see from the performances and the way that they were running and looking to press and looking to score. They wanted to win, that these boys were going to score today. And I'm just happy that it came for especially Xavi. But like you said, there were plenty more tests to come up. But I think today was a massive performance for him, because he's starting to realize what he needs to do to play in this league. And because he's come through that battling system his whole career, I think it's going to take a little bit more time. But like, once he finds it, and he will find it, I think he's going to be absolutely dynamite.
Ricky, do you want to talk us through the second goal on the 43rd minute? Because Xavi Simons, it actually looked like he lost the ball in our half, and then he won the ball back, and went on an amazing run. And what a finish past Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's about, that's what I'm saying. It's not just about his goal or his assist today or a good pass today. The fact that he went and picked up that ball took it off the, he was trying to go forward, got tackled, and he didn't let it go. He didn't sulk. He didn't drop his head. He didn't try and roll around and pretend it was a foul. He got back up and he went and got it back, like, quickly. That was one of my favorite bits, if I'm honest. The fact that he just went and took it back off him, he said no. And the thing is that he caught Brentford so off guard. When the Brentford player won the ball off of him to begin with, all of the Brentford players, they all started running forward. Yeah, all of their eyes were forward. All of their body language was going forward. Oh, we're going to break. But the fact that Xavi got it so quickly and turned off of him meant that they were all half a yard behind Xavi, and he was free to run in. And, Xavi's not known for his pace, but he does have acceleration. And today you saw that, and he just burst into that channel. Once he got around the box, he knew that if there was any challenge coming, it's more than likely a penalty, and found the bottom corner. It was such a beautiful kind of placed shot. He didn't lash it. He didn't go for the spectacular. He went for precision and technicality, and it was a beautiful goal to kind of reward his performance today. And this is what I'm saying. I want him to take this. I think it looked like it clicked for him today. He looked like he was like, oh, okay, I know what the Premier League's about. Okay, cool. This is what we're going to do. Let's go do it.
Melvyn, let's come to you. What did you make of the second half? Because I suppose the only negative that I could probably pick up is the fact that Spurs did only score 2 goals. Because on the 51st minute, Jed Spence was through on goal. Kelleher saved, and Kelleher is a great goalkeeper, by the way. On 54 minutes, Brentford lost the ball. Mohamed Kudus had a shot. Kelleher saved again. Then huge cheers from the crowd at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That is what I really love to see when the fans are happy. When the team are delivering on the pitch and the fans are happy. There's nothing better than that here. Xavi crossed in. It was cleared on 58 minutes. A minute later, Romero making a great tackle in the box as a Brentford player was just about to pull the trigger. On 62 minutes, Kelleher out of goal again. Richarlison needed to square it. Xavi Simons straight at the goalkeeper. So I suppose that is the only negative that I could certainly pick up, that the fact that we only scored 2 today.
Yeah, I mentioned before, could have been more. I also picked up in the second half, there was a moment where Kudus lost the ball. He was messing around with it, and Romero, Van de Ven, and Spence were fuming at him. Because it nearly led to a Brentford goal. So that kind of mentality is something that I like to see. They really wanted to keep that clean sheet and obviously win the game, but we can't be doing stuff like that. But you gotta love it from the captain and the defense that they reacted in that manner, because you don't want to concede and have them come back into the game. I mean, I love the mentality from the captain, because if I was there, I'd definitely do the same thing. I think Romero, he does lead by example, by the physicality he brings to the game. I know it led to an early yellow card, but I honestly love that from Romero. I think he plays on the line, which sometimes leads to him being booked, but it's something I don't mind. I think the way he plays, the aggression that he brings to the team, if I was playing next to him, it'd be something that would make me play harder and try to play the same as him. I think Romero, even his English is improving a bit. I saw the interview he did this week. But yeah, I think the second half, I think game management was pretty good as well. I think the way we slowed the game down, tried to have Brentford press us and have them move, chase us instead of the other way around. I think our passing was really good in a sense that, for example, the United game, we kept overhitting the ball, trying the hero pass and end up losing it. I think we were quite tidy with the ball. We didn't lose possession very often. Something I noticed with the last 2 games is we're keeping hold of the ball much better. I think the Newcastle game, there was a spell where we kept the ball for, I think, 2 minutes perhaps, or maybe a minute and a half, which seems long for us. It's been a while since we've been able to maintain the ball and keep it, recycle it from side to side without losing it, without playing boring football as well. We had Newcastle pinned in, and I felt today we did that as well, which is something that I've picked up in the last couple of games. Sadly, I missed the Fulham game because I was with my wife watching AC Milan. But my brother messaged me, and I couldn't believe we were 2-0 down after that. But so I don't have a feel of what happened that game. So I'm very happy about today. But I don't think. Hopefully, we don't have performances like that in us again. I just think like I said, I think with Xavi, the next game is so important. Next league game, I have to say, because I think Champions League, I don't know, it's the first season back in the Champions League. We're a young squad. I think the priority for me is the Premier League, and I think it's so important for us to be back into the Champions League. And I just think the Premier League is the most important competition at the moment, and I think it's so vital we get top 4, and we're not far off. And I just think, you look at Liverpool, who spent millions and millions of players and on players, and I just think we can compete and be there, and to be back in the Champions League and maintain top 4 or 5 or top 5 is very important for the team and for the club. And so the team will learn from today. Frank will learn from today. He'll know what he can get out of the team and the players. And the only negative is for me today is Koulibaly not scoring. I want to see Koulibaly score in the Premier League. I think the Champions League game did him a world of confidence. I think he's a great player, by the way. I think we've done well there, and he's learning and adapting more. And I think by the end of the season, we might say, we've done a blinder here. He's a real steal. I just think we haven't seen, the real Koulibaly, and it's up to Frank to get the best out of him, out of everyone, to be honest. And it's his job and the coaching staff to get the best out of these players, because there's some talented players in the squad, and they just need to get the best out of them.
Dave, there's 2 subjects I'd like to cover, and then we'll move on to the short match preview against Slavia Prague on Tuesday. On 65 minutes, Thomas Frank made the first sub of the game. Polinia coming on and Bentancur going off. Other subs in the game on 74 minutes, Odobert coming on, Kolo Muani going off. And then on 81 minutes, Romero and Kudus going off, and Danso and Sarr coming on. Going back to the point about game management there, about the subs, what did you make of that? And also the other point that I made a couple of minutes ago about us probably, we should have probably scored more in this game. Odobert was through, the shot was saved. We did have the ball in the net, but it went to VAR on the 79th minute, and Simmons was offside. Overall game management, are you happy with how Thomas Frank manages these games and rotates the squad? Because he talks about that a lot, doesn't he, rotation?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Polinia for Bentancur was a straight swap, and that made perfect sense. Just, every team does it with a like for like. At 65, it seems a given that everyone makes the sub around the 60-minute mark, doesn't it? Given that, Odobert, I just don't think we've seen him. I think there was one game a few back where he had quite a bit of space and he was attacking quite a bit, and he dribbled a bit more, but he didn't do himself any favours. And that even, I know he only had 22 minutes or something like that, including injury time, but he didn't really offer a lot, to be fair. Sarr's, there's a lot of questions over whether he's, is he an odds-on starter in the midfield? I don't think so at the moment. He's probably got his, they're going to rotate for sure. But I have questioned Frank's substitutions in most games. I'm wondering whether they're the right calls. Like Danzo coming on for Romero. I mean, he's an important squad member, but Danzo can get the ball stuck in his feet a bit. I don't know. Something makes me nervous about him with the ball at his feet. Like, he's strong, no doubting how strong he is, and he's really good. He puts his body on the line and he blocks really well. But yeah, there was one one stage, I was a bit nervous. I'm like, oh, should they have just kept Romero on? But then, hey, he was on a yellow, which could have been a red. You never know. That scissors tackle. But other than that, I mean, that was the only subs, wasn't it? But I just think, yeah, once we just got to go into the transfer window and take advantage of it, because we clearly, when he knows with certain players, without mentioning too many names, that aren't going to feature. They're not like, I see players that are dead certs that are going to take us forward and upset some of the harder teams we've played, which we've had an absolute shambles against. And I think we need to strengthen. We don't know how far away Kulu and Solanke are, so I think they got to back Frank, like Melvyn said. I think he is potentially the right man, but he's just created so much doubt over his tactics. So is it his uncertainty over team selection that's caused some of this? I don't know. I just think we've got to strengthen in certain areas. We know on the left, we have no one that's a backable option at the moment. And I think Richarlison's great squad player. That's all I'll say there, Melvyn. I won't say he shouldn't start, but I think, yeah, I just think we've just got to strengthen, because it's coming up that time now, isn't it? The window's going to be opening soon. We got to jump on it, and hopefully they dive deep into their pockets, and actually the board backs Frank, because we need to give him a few transfer windows. We can't. There's no point flicking him. Although if we lost today, how would this chat have gone? There would have been a lot of fans calling for him if we were able to beat Brentford today, especially with his in-house knowledge and the amount of pressure and the amount of bad performances. So. But yeah, I thought his substitutions were fine. Like whether he could have kept Romero onto the end, but now that's pretty minor. We've got to go forward now.
So of course, Tottenham Hotspur are next in Premier League action on next Sunday, away at Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. But before that, Spurs are back in Champions League action here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Tuesday evening. Dave, I'm going to start with you, and the stadium is closing very soon, so we've got about 2 minutes per guest on the answers here, so we've got to be pretty quick. Right, now, having a look at Slavia Prague, they're currently top of the Czech Liga table. They have played 18, they have 42 points. Now, in the Champions League table, Spurs are currently 16th. We have 8 points from the opening 5 games. Slavia Prague are down in 31st position out of 36 teams. They have also played 5. They only have 3 points. Now, Dave, let's start with you. It's a 4-part question. Your expectations, I don't know, in 2 minutes. Expectations, team selection, score prediction, and how you're going to feel about seeing Heung-min Son back here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Oh, I think there's a level of weight on that number 7 shirt, isn't there, for Simons? That's part of his pressure. But I think, he'll probably rotate again. It just seems to be his trend. It's the way he seems to do it. They haven't won, have they, Slavia Prague in the Champions League? So it's a good chance to just establish a bit more momentum and build more confidence and certainty in the minds of some of the boys that have really needed it. Like you're talking young players. There's some young boys in there. I think we'll get past them. Forest coming off a bit of a hammering to Everton away, so they'll be right amongst it at home. And from my recollections, we've struggled a little bit at Forest. So it'll be a real good test. Yeah, I wouldn't. We just got to take one game at a time. But yeah, come on, boys. Let's push.
Melvyn, how are you feeling ahead of the Champions League game on Tuesday?
Important game. I think the win today helps. I would go for a Heung-min Son inspired win. I think it could get us over the line. I think we'll get a reaction out of the players, the media, the fans. So I'm quietly confident that we'll win.
Lovely short answers, those. Ricky? Ricky, how are you feeling ahead of Tuesday's game? And team selection, who would you expect Thomas Frank to play? Are you expecting 3 points in the Champions League table again?
What we need to do first and foremost is build on this performance. So we need to see another performance like today. The manner and the mentality in which we played with today needs to go into that game. We need 3 points in the Champions League, and we need to show up with a performance because we've been lucky in some games, Bodo and Monaco, and unlucky in some others. But we need those 3 points to make sure that we're in contention for the Champions League next year, I feel. So I would have minimal rotation. I think Bentancur gets a rest. He must do because he's, he pretty much started nearly every game for a while now. So I think minimal rotation. But I think the good things that started today need to continue on Tuesday. So I see us winning. I'd say clean sheet as well. So I'd say about 2-1. No, what did I say? Clean sheet, 2-1. 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0 Tottenham. And no, you know what? I'm going to go 3-0 Tottenham. And it's going to be great because not only after today, there's been good energy, good result, good 3 points. But Sonny's coming home on Tuesday. One of my favourite ever players, ever, to pick up the shirt and wear the shirt and to represent Tottenham Hotspur. With class and with grace and with technical ability and everything. He had heart. He had a whole heap of heart. And I think, you can see that the side are missing that heart, from Sonny and that love that used to bring every day, win, lose or draw. There's new heroes and there's new people having to step up within the squad. But I think Sonny coming home on that day after a result like today should spur, and I mean that with the pun, should spur everybody on in the ground. Every single fan going is going to be excited walking into that ground. So the energy is going to be high after a performance like today. And having Sonny there to crown it off, got to be a big 3 points, got to be a big 3 goals, and got to be a clean sheet and another performance to take into next week. So that's what I'm going with, Chris.
Thank you, Rick. Dave, thank you so much for joining us on the Spurs Chat podcast. I know it's your first ever appearance on here, so I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that you will return one day to chat more things Spurs with us. Thank you so much. Where can people find you on social media?
Social media, just my name, really. I don't have any podcasts or, just Dave Manville. I think you'll find me on Facebook, Insta, DJ Manville, I think it is. Just flying under the radar, but so good to be on chatting with you boys. I love it. I love the chat. I love the banter. We can only get better from this year, so let's just get the boys rolling. Come on.
Thank you for joining us, Dave. Thank you so much. And Melvyn, thank you so much for your input this evening. And where can people find you and what you're up to at the moment?
Yeah, not much. People can find me on Instagram, and if you want to follow Spurs Malta, the socials are written on video. If you're in audio form, you'll have to find the video. But yeah, not much. Just relaxing and waiting for the Christmas holidays. I have a honeymoon booked, which is the thing I'm excited for. I'll be going to Argentina to visit the land of Romero.
I thought you were going to say we're going to go to Tottenham.
No. I tried to pitch this idea, but she said no.
And rightly so. We'll enjoy that when that happens, Melvyn. And many congratulations once more. And Ricky, thank you so much as always. What are you up to? You're always up to things. You're always here, there and everywhere. And how is the podcast going?
Going really well. Talking Tottenham, all one word. You type it into YouTube, you'll find me and my brother from another, Mr. Darren Hart. We look back in hindsight on what has gone on in Tottenham's world over the last 10 to 14 days. So we have a bit of an overview of how we're going. But yeah, just more opportunities to hear me rant and rave about Tottenham Hotspur. So you can check us out on YouTube. Thank you. Going really well. We've recorded episode 6. It'll be out in a few days, and I'll put an announcement out. So you can find that on Twitter, X, and you can find me at Ricky J Norwood, or you can follow me on Instagram, where there's a bit more kind of what I'm doing left, right, and center, whether that be like acting or presenting or whatever that is. So yeah, you can find me there. Official Ricky Norwood on Instagram, at Ricky J Norwood on X. And then 20th of December, I'm at Dagenham Mecca Bingo. We are doing a reggae, lovers rock and R&B night with Frisky DJ and some very special guests performing live on the night. So I just done the first one last week in Oldbury, and it was hilarious. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good energy. Over 1,000 people turned up. So if you're coming down, make sure you got your tickets, and I will see you there. But apart from that, my brother, you will see me against Slavia and on this beautiful podcast, the Spurs Chat podcast, with my brother Chris Cowlin and Melvyn and Dave and everybody else. You know, always an honor and a pleasure, Chris, to be on with you, beautiful gentlemen, and all you lovely, wonderful people around the world. Let's keep it going. Let's keep this momentum going. Let's keep this good feeling going. Let's keep this positivity going. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on, boys.
Ricky, Melvyn, Dave, thank you so much for your input this evening. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and of course, a pleasure talking about a Spurs win, especially here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's been a long time coming, but let's hope that this can continue, and let's hope that we can get another win on Tuesday in the Champions League. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening, and have a great weekend. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.